everyone, and welcome back to Austin Talks, where today we are covering a DC Universe movies and series rating. I did one last week about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think probably it's only fair that I do one in regards to DC as well. I'm also planning to do one about Star Wars, because obviously that's a very wide universe as well. So without further ado, I'm actually really curious. I really enjoyed doing the last video, so I'm ready to get right into this video as well. Now, just as a covering as well, now while I have already done a video on the MCU, and I think it's only fair to do one about the DC universe. Now, but this video is probably a bit different because it applies to all the DC movies, not just the DCEU, because obviously that would it's just that the DCEU, we'd be here for 5 minutes, or in that case 0. Like a video on the MCU is like only dedicated because obviously you have the Daredevil movie, Elektra, and then also you have, damn it, I'm still thinking. I mean, there is obviously, and then you have Punisher. You all have movies that aren't actually a part of the MCU. So I think doing the whole DCU movies is probably a better idea, because one, you get a better insight, and obviously you have more of an idea of actually good DCEU movies. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Now, number 5 in movies is Birds of Prey. Now, I've watched this movie many times actually, and it is actually it is really good. Gotham always is portrayed at like night time in the dark, but in this movie there was actually a lot of sunlight, happiness, and jokiness, if like not the actual Joker. And it was also a story that gave Harley Quinn her own arc, independence, and that completely diverts her from the actual relationship from the Joker, because she's always been like the Joker's lackey and all that. But in this case, she is not that kind of person. This movie also introduces two characters that we had never seen before and probably won't see them again, but they were really good characters. Cassandra Cain, very good. I actually really like that version of Renee Montoya and Huntress. I mean, Black Canary could have been improved, but also I like the Black Mask as well. I want to know what they're doing with Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, because I do think that is a very good version of Harley Quinn. But like, if we have Kaylee Coco as in live action, I think that will just drive it home. I am sorry, that I think that will just take it home. Now, number 4, it is a good movie. You have to understand this. It's Zack Snyder's Justice League. As much as this was 4 hours long, it is also a good movie. It was. You kind of get lost in the fact that it's 4 hours, because it is a good movie with storyline. Now, I watched this movie over the course of 2 days, but you do kind of forget how long the movie is because of its quality. The Snyderverse was actually something that we all wanted. I mean, if we were not going to get the Snyderverse, then we had to get like a new universe. No one wanted it to continue with DCU. And the Snyderverse was something that we always needed needed definitely. And while that is not something that we got, we still did get a good, decent reboot. If there is one thing I would like to take from this, is that the DCU should do what this movie did. Use the dark side storyline that this did, and not like don't use Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf sucks. Now, or make his suit looks comic accurate. Now, Darkseid was a great foe, and even though we didn't see him much, we probably saw him 20 minutes max throughout the whole movie, which is out of 3. Let's do the quick maths there. So out of 3, 1 out of 1 out of 3, then 1 out of 6, then 1 out of 9. 1 out of the 1, then divide that by 3. Nope, can't do the mental math right now. No, I mean, it's not even that big. Roughly it's 1 out of 9. Like 1 out of 9 of the movie. Well, kind of. That's no. Then I have to add 1 out of 12. That's a 12th of the movie. Gee, can see my maths is going well, but it is a good movie. I mean, I do think Darkseid was a great character, even for his little time, and also his influence on the characters. And I also liked Superman's new suit, and obviously the color contrast, and this also opened the doors for the Flash movie, understanding the the Speed Force and all that. We all know how that movie went. One of the best movies ever seen. Lol. Now, in number 3 is the Batman movie. Absolutely amazing. Now, this movie was one of the highest grossing movies of the year, and rightfully so. One of the greatest movies, or the greatest portrayals of the Batman, and this is what a Batman movie should be. And I'm glad that we are getting another movie, because this character and franchise do have true potential. And Batman, the Batman is projected with darkness, and Riddler was like a John Kramer from Saw, and I kid you not, it was just the traps were like awful, and also the dynamics between Catwoman and Batman is always something that has intrigued me. It's like, or it is like a will they won't they, and it's like a Romeo and Juliet. He's from rich, she's from the poor, and like they don't belong together, but they are together, and that gets on and off. But their interactions are perfectly proportioned with emotion and action. And as much as this movie was 3 hours long, you honestly forget that, and I really didn't care about it was 3 hours long. The same thing happened with Oppenheimer, which I saw yesterday, and I will be doing a review on it. I know it's like 2 months later. I am doing a review. It is the best movie at all. It gave me chills. I honestly loved the movie to bits. No, but anyway, diverting quickly. But the dynamics between Batman are always something that is too in other projects, it's like there's too much or there's too little, but the interactions are perfectly proportioned with like the emotion and action. And as much as this movie, as I say, was 3 hours, it was really, 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 really good. Yeah, now I know what I said. I kind of says it kind of contradicts myself, because I say that that's what a Batman movie should be. For our time, nothing will top The Dark Knight. Dark Knight was an amazing movie. Now, this is probably one of the greatest movies of all time on that list, to be fair, and let alone a DC movie. But this was also another trilogy that was amazing. I never got my head around the whole Christian Bale Batman, but this movie is so good. The poster even captures you in. And also, the reason I put this above the Batman is because this movie did come out 14 years before it, and it was just as gritty and dark. Also, no one can disagree that the arcs of everyone in the movie was great, even Batman. I mean, Joker and Two-Face was kind of done dirty in some ways, but Joker and Two-Face were also some of the best villains in the movie. I'd still put that Two-Face above the one we got with the one with Riddler with Jim Carrey, and the best villains for the movie. And while we only got 30 minutes worth of Two-Face, not Harvey Dent. The leading up to his accident really drove it, and as much as he was done dirty in the whole movie, it was really good. But no one will play the Joker as well as Heath Ledger. Jared Leto is the best Joker ever. Heath Ledger played the Joker so well, so gritty, so dark, and so you could view him. There was someone. I'm gonna ask them to write it in the comments. I should have gotten this person's perspective of the Joker, because literally it gave me a whole new outlook on the movie. I'll ask to give me what they said, and they'll write it in the comments, because I honestly think it's something that needs to, it's such a good thing to say. But number 2, Dark Knight, one of the best movies, superhero movie. Why is there no transition? I'm sad now. But as I've already said in my review, Blue Beetle is the GOAT. Now, from the review, you could also tell that I praised this movie, because it is truly one of the best DC movies ever. Blue Beetle is a teenage movie that is perfectly orchestrated, and I can't wait to see where it goes from now. Now, the post-credits scene, as I went over yesterday, I've actually just realized I've done three DC related movies in a row. Now, and it opens up the doors for the future of like characters. While that isn't actually the crucial component of why I like this movie so much, but it is something that I categorize. But the actor for like Blue Beetle played him so well. He was like, he was the no one. I don't think anyone else could have played him better. Well, because he and a lot of people's like, oh, he's basically just Miguel from Cobra Kai. No, he's not. You would think that, but no, he's a completely different character in this sense. But like it was great. The storyline was just perfect. I honestly think the OMAC was a great turn. And I didn't like Victoria as a villain. I in fact hated her, which is how I should feel about any villain. But I can't say anything else other than this movie was just amazing. And like, you go and check out my review, but this movie was just amazing. I also reviewed the Batman movie on this channel, but yeah, movie peak. Now we move on to the honorable mentions. Now, obviously, these are movies that I think should be mentioned and like still kept into the count because there are good other good movies out there as well. One of them being Black Adam. Now, I have reviewed this movie before, and I have to say this is a very good movie considering it was still a part of the DCEU at the time. Now, people think that using Dwayne Johnson was a hype stunt. Yeah, and to some extent I do agree, but he did play the character well. He wasn't there like, hey, I'm here to just like get this box office going. No, he played this character with charm and character, and I there was no doubt about that. But Black Adam is like what they call an anti-hero with an agenda. He wishes to get revenge on the people who wronged him, but then is turned into the city's protector. So like he wants to get back at Intergang for like in locking him up or anything, I guess. But also he wants to protect the place that he comes from. The one flaw of this villain is I think his cat arc should have been longer, but it's still a great movie all in all. Like this poster alone was just amazing. Yes, the Suicide Squad. You need to take into account that this movie was a part of the DCEU, so I think that's the one thing you need to consider before you even say that, oh, this is a bad movie. This was a part of the DCEU. It was actually not that bad. So when you compare this movie to every other movie in the franchise, it was actually a very good movie. I like it. I like the Starro storyline, and the lineup for this team. Or both versions, should I say? But it is so much better than the first one. But I have one problem, which is Starro. He was such a formidable foe, but then dies to a golden spear to the eye. It's just so stupidly orchestrated. But I think he could have been like a Justice League villain. I mean, unless they knew by the time what they were doing with James Gunn. But obviously James Gunn did do it. And this is very much like an Expendables movie, very funny and very good. It was just like a little bit stupid. I mean, the whole movie is stupid and funny, but it is good. But I also think Starro's arc and history for example, his association with Thinker was great, and the way he killed the Thinker, I think, was definitely needed because then it had a different, gave you a different perspective on it. Oh yes. Now, honestly, this movie got a lot of controversy, but this movie would, if this movie never associated with the DC comics, it would never have released. Because I'm not saying because it's bad. A lot of people say that because it's bad. I'm not saying that. This movie was, it was dark, gruesome, and an original story. The original story is that he was dropped into a vat of chemicals, and that those chemicals affected him mentally, leading him to become the psychotic killer that he is, known as the Joker. This, his pillar of insanity is his own doing. He did all of this himself. He became the Joker because of himself, not because of an accident. He chose to become the Joker. That's why I think this is actually one of those, it's a really dark crime movie. And also, in anticipation of the next movie, I honestly wonder how they're going to officially portray Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. I honestly don't know how they're gonna top this movie. I understand that movie is said to be like a musical, but this movie is just yeah, I don't think the same dark tones will be there, but I do recommend going to watch this movie. But beware, it is dark. It is not. It's they've basically just slapped Joker on it. It's like, yeah, but I want to release this movie, so let's just slap a DC name on it. But like, it is a good movie. That's not wrong. Yeah, kind of. DC League of Super Pets. Now, this movie, as much as it's a kids' movie, that is irrelevant to me. It is the first time that we have actually ever seen the Super Pets, and they are actually truly some of the greatest characters to be portrayed in the animation. The voice actors are so good as well in this, and they really do reinforce the comedy of the movie. And the one thing about this movie is like the villain. The villain was just why? It didn't make sense. But like the villain had no link to the storyline whatsoever. But that is like the only thing I didn't like about the movie. The setting was great, the animation was sick, and the minor anecdotes like Superman going on a date, and the animations were like spot on. I really enjoyed this movie, and if there was one thing I could say, it's like go and watch it for a good laugh. Like, if you want to watch a DC movie, but then have a good want to laugh, go and watch it. I've watched this quite a few times now, but it is a really good movie. Yeah. Yes, Teen Titans, go to the movies. Very good movie. Very good movie. Now, as much as this is a kids' movie as well, Teen Titans has always had a place in my heart. It is a movie. It is a franchise that I still watch to this day. You can I'll be 50 and I'll continue watching this. And I grew up like watching this, and this also has the great soundtrack, and the storyline. While it is cartoonish, it is also comic accurate in the sense that the antagonist isn't like a Deathstroke. The Titans, villains are is commonly Deathstroke, but at the end of the day, it was an animated DC movie, and while they are like, oh, they're so funny and goofy, it was still good. You don't slap it just because it's animated. It is a very good movie. And if we are being real for a moment, DC animated movies are probably better than live action. I said it. I watched Superman Red Sun a few months ago, and it was a very good movie. I mean, just it gives you a different perspective. But this is a great movie, 100% great movie. I clicked the button, it didn't move. Yes, the clown of the DC EU. Now, this movie I'm only mentioning because of the genre. It's like very teenage. It is very similar to like Blue Beetle, but in a different sense. Yes, it is okay that this movie has been like so much better, but if it would have been so much better if it was disconnected from the DCEU. I think the idea that Savannah was the original villain was a better option than going straight into the Black Adam, because then we wouldn't have gotten the Black Adam movie. So yeah, it all worked out. And I also like the post-credits scene when we were introduced to the destructive caterpillar himself, known as Mr. Mind. But why did nothing happen there? I would like to see Mr. Mind again, the self-destructive caterpillar. And I also think that I do think probably an alternative post-credit scene was like Black Adam coming to Philadelphia, like transporting there, and be like I now found who this other champion is. I'm gonna go kill him. That would have been cool, but I understand why they wanted to showcase another common Captain Marvel individual. Why did I say Captain Marvel? It's Shazam. Yes, it always should be Shazam. It's Shazam. It will never be Captain Marvel. But yeah, Mr. Mind is obviously a common villain and worked with Savannah in the past. So I do wonder why this movie had nothing to do with Mr. Mind, but okay. Now, the TV series. Now, obviously, there have been many, many, many TV series in the past. So let's just start off with Gotham. Amazing. This series is really overlooked and underrated, and it is one of those series that you wish never ended. And the ending though was both disturbing and great. And I love the like the little anecdotes. If you look at the bridge, it's like in the shape of a bat. This series is not a great portrayal of Gotham because obviously Gotham is always dark and destructive, and all of the people who rot in the city to the core make it what it is, and it also shows the uprising of some crime bosses like Penguin and Carmine Falcone. And I think that the main character Jim Gordon was a great idea, and another great idea was not introducing Batman. I think showing the growth of Batman would have had a bigger impact, and though the timeline didn't was kind of confusing, it did play a better role in towards the end. I think like Jeremiah's the brain dead storyline should have played along for a bit longer, but because it diverts itself from like the original Batman, which he only revealed at the very end, which I think was a very good idea, but it was a very good move on the storyline part. Jeremiah was definitely the better Joker. People say that Jerome was more psychotic and more out there. The thing is, if you talk about the spectrum, Jeremiah is in between Arthur Fleck and Jerome, because Jerome brought out the Jeremiah, or the Joker in Jeremiah. And then he was like, you know what, I'm gonna kill my brother and then I'm gonna take all the glory and then just destroy Gotham as it is. That is basically what he did. But he twisted it into his own vision. And while his vision didn't seem that bad, I just think the way he went around it, I think he should have just gone down to the courthouse. Like, can we just knock down this clock tower? Like, yeah, I mean, imagine if they said no. I mean, I know what his other option was, but yeah. But Jim Gordon as the main character, I think, showed a different portrayal, because obviously he had like Barbara Keene, then he went to Lee Tompkins. Lee Tompkins was a very nice character. I liked her, and I have watched this series many times, and actually I do want to go for another round, because I liked this. Season 5 was it? Well, season 5 was when we were shown Professor Pig, right? I think I could be very much wrong. The last episode, which is the 12th episode of season 5. How do I know this? It's a very good portrayal of Gotham, and like the OG characters. So, and I think it should have been called Welcome to Gotham. Now, deal with it, people. People actually believe that this is not part of the DC universe. I don't think it should be, but it is, so people, we must deal with it. This series was actually really hard, like, it was just really hard to get my head around, but, like, it just went in so detail. It goes so hard in the sense, like, from beginning to end, it's storyline. It was just perfection as well. Now, season 3 was probably the best for me, because, like season 3 with the whole Cain and Abel thing, which was most definitely the best part of it. But like I loved how they integrated the ending into season 4 when he revealed his it revealed his true identity to Chloe, and she was like, all right, I'm good. Season 5 was also very weird with the whole like Michael brother thing. I really didn't like him. He was just not nice. But season 6 was also confusing at points, which was another great masterpiece how he becomes God and it had great referencing to like the mythology and all that. The best things about the series though was like the God mythology and the detective stories. But the best thing, I noticed a common theme. So it's easy to detect who the killer is because I had to look for a common pattern. The first person that they interview is always the killer. That is a common thing, at least 80% of the time. It is very, very, very normal. I do want to watch this again. It was a very good series. There was a couple characters that I'm like, are you sure you don't belong here? I think you belong in Gotham. But yeah, this is actually a part of the DC universe. It doesn't say that it is, but it actually is. But it is a very good show. Now, coming in at number 2, we have the CW Flash. Now, the Flash series is probably the longest-lasting DC series that there is to this date, and it truly portrays the Flash in many different aspects. And I genuinely think that we saw every classic and abnormal villain. There's a couple ones that we never saw, or ones that were never in the comics that faced, and we've all seen them face off against the Flash and lose. Now, I also liked the ending, as you know, while the quality of the series did decline roughly around season 6, it did pick up the pace at season 7, but not to the same quality. Now, the series had gotten some backlash because of the quality. It got a severe backlash, but you have to. It is understandable, but it doesn't mean you should not watch the movie. The series. It is a very good series. Now, what you have to understand is that the series will never be the same as when it started. Season 1 to 4 were gold. They will never be the same. Nothing will be the same as that. So that's the one thing the people have to get in mind. And I understand season 5 it kind of declined, but it was still a very good series. Season 6 sucked. Season 6 was awful, and season 7 was actually pretty good. Because I was during the summer and I was still away, and I kept on waiting every week for the series. But number 1 is Superman and Lois. The music is so good as well. Now, I know this is probably already known, but this series is the best portrayal of Superman ever. The best thing about it is more of a TV drama series than a superhero series, and it focuses more on the family than it does Superman. And to be honest, we'd see more Clark than Superman, which is actually a really good thing. And while it does sort of remind me of a Lucifer series, it is truly the best DC show out there. I wouldn't even call it a DC show. The best season was most definitely season 3, and while season 4 is only known to have 10 episodes, I am sure that it will just be good as each other. And also, I like the new Jonathan, not this Jonathan. Just want to put that out there. But the last thing I want to talk about is the relationships between characters. Never was a fan of the Sarah and Jordan, and never was a fan of Lana and Kyle. Lana is now with John Henry Irons. Kyle is now with Chrissy Beppo, and Sarah and Jordan are still trying to find it. I imagine they'll get back together. But I like the positions everyone is in right now. It's very good and very balanced, and I can't wait for season 4. But this show is truly one of the best. No, is the best. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this, but honorable mention. In number 5, we have Peacemaker. Now, this series is Deadpool in a nutshell, as well as another series, but it is funny and it's comedic, and the storyline was actually well put together. Until the end. The end was quite weird. I went closer to the end. I was really questioning what I was watching, but I was doing the same with Deadpool. The series also did portray Peacemaker in the way that he was in the comics. To be honest, comedic, sarcastic. I didn't know if the series would actually go ahead, but this series was well worth watching. Actually, the series was confusing, but if you were to do a second season, I suggest having it revolve around the events of Waller, which is an upcoming series that basically. And in translation, that means this series needs to be in the DCEU. I do think this needs to be a part of the DCEU because some of the events have already taken place. It only makes sense to have Peacemaker or John Cena in it as well. Now, yes, same thing. Now, very much like Peacemaker, it's just animated Deadpool, but in a nutshell. I only actually learned recently that the voice of Harley Quinn is actually the same as Penny from the BBT, and that's something I now no longer can get out of my head. And the best animated because it is just so funny, and the plot is perfect. It's actually perfectly melted in with them. There's not a scene where I don't laugh. You can't really take this the series seriously. I don't think you're actually supposed to. And I still have yet to watch season 4, but to my knowledge, it is just as good as the others, as I'm told. The voice actors are also perfectly chosen, and I'm not just saying that because of the Harley voice actor. It is just the lines that are perfectly delivered. They are perfectly delivered in the best tones and by the best people. I think the voice actors are chosen really well. And I do think like the way they're delivered, like don't change them because they know how to deliver them. It's called good humor. Number 7, Gotham Knights. Yeah. And now this is a series I just want to mention because as much as it's a repeat of the Batman story, this was also probably the best one. Now, so tell me, why are they leaving us with one season? Two-Face finally came out from the under, and the doings of the Court of Owls made the series on a whole another level. Very interesting, but it was also proportioned with some of the plot forms. You could tell, like I could tell for sure. I didn't think that were gonna happen, and like the addition of Harper, Stephanie, and Cullen and Kelly. Those are like these are characters that we've never seen before, and like because of these characters, we would never seen in any other series or movie ever. So that's why I liked it. And yet, while they have yet to thought of like what there were. There's a theory that this is actually a part of the Gotham series, just many years in front. I'm gonna go with that because I just want it to be good. It is so good, but they're throwing away such a good plot line. They did the same with Batwoman, which I'll get onto in a bit. But yeah, this was such a the ending was such a I got the news the day after I watched it. I was like, oh yeah, we're not doing another season. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yes, Stargirl, very good. A lot of writing though. Now, when this series started, it took me a while to wrap my head around it, but now it is actually a very good addition to the DC CW collection. The first season was really slow moving, but closer to the end, it was just amazingly put together. Season 2 was just as good as when we were introduced to the character Eclipso, which was one of the one scary and terrifying dude. But season 3 though, holy crap, season 3. Now, when I was saying those, I keep on saying these 3 words because it was just it's so out of the blue. I like the Dragon King storyline, and I didn't like the way he actually died in season 1. And throughout the whole of season 3, I was like, maybe he's coming back, and there was rumors that he did. Oh boy, I didn't think he'd coming back like this. But to then see him integrate himself into the body of the Ultra-Human Knight was a moment of shock and awe. I don't know the plans for season 4. Even there will be one. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure if there will be. But either way, I would be excited. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It is a very good series. I do recommend you go and see it. Or go and watch it. It's very, very good. Now, the last one is Batwoman. Mainly because I had to draw something else out of the hat. Season 1 was one of the greatest seasons of this, but season 2 lost me on a high one. Now, it was a good series in the sense that Black Mask was used. My favourite Batman villain of all time is Black Mask, but the other were very, very confusing. I also like the relationship dynamics between everyone, and the best of the series is how they are building on the legacy that was built by the Dark Knight himself. But season 3 was just extremely confusing with the whole Poison Ivy complex, which also made the series not as entertaining. But I did like the reuniting between Ryan and her mother, which was also a good addition. But the series all in all was actually a good series. But and also when you compare it to any other DCC, that's not an issue. But why on earth did it leave us on a cliffhanger? I was so annoyed when that happened, and to be fair, I still kind of am. I'm actually, after this video, I'm gonna go and check who that character was at the end of the season, season 3, because they said they're not making any more. That made me sad. So why, CW? Give me an explanation. And losing money is not a good explanation. But yes. Anyway. Yes, my overall rating is an 8 out of 10. Now, this is not mathematical. This is actually purely my own choosing. But when you add up all the slippery slopes of each series and movies, and put into position of you are kind of put into a position of yeah, my hands are tied here. But I also speak truth and nothing but the truth. Well, the series does seem, and while this does seem harsh, I probably would have gone lower. But this is the best you can get out of me. But this is my voting, and the movies were okay, and I mean most of them stem from the DCEU, so which is kind of majorly puts them down a peg, but like their reputation just is awful anyway. But when you add into the CW shows and stuff, it does become a very even rating, and at least in my opinion. But let me know about your rating in the comments, what you think about every DC movie, or let me know what your favorites are as well. Right, everyone, that'll be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, because obviously these are very spirited like videos, but also very, very long. Like I do like rating these. I'm gonna do Star Wars and Transformers soon. And obviously the videos we've got next week I think are actually pretty good, so I think you should stay tuned for that. And this week is the first week I'll be releasing my news flash, so stay tuned for that on Friday, and I'll put in a link to, on that day for it in my Austin Cooks and Bakes. If you've been tuning into the channel, you'll know about that. So everyone, you've got some pretty good news coming your way, and I've got a Modern Family fan theories video coming out tomorrow, so I think you'll enjoy that. So right, everyone, I hope you all have a great day, and if you did like the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment what else you'd like to see in the comments below. Other than that, everyone, I do hope you all have a great day or a great week, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!